Hey friends, it's Kelly. Thanks for joining me. I am back with a new layout for the Cut Shop, and today I'm going to be using the Cupid's Arrows cut file. I am going to start today's video with a Cricut Design Space tutorial. I already have the cut file image on the design screen, and I'm going to take a little time to slice out the individual arrows that I'm wanting to use on my layout today. I've used the slice feature on pretty much all of my Cricut Design Space tutorials, but just as a refresher, you're going to insert a shape, lay it on top of the portion of the cut file that you're wanting to use, select the shape and the cut file image, go over to the Layers tab and click the Slice button, and it will remove the portion of the cut file that you are wanting to use from the entire image. Okay, so these are the three arrows that I'm going to be using on my layout today. I'm just going to move them over to the side, and I'm going to set my canvas to a scrapbook layout. This is going to place a 12 by 12 square on the design screen. It will just give me a reference point, so when I'm sizing the cut file images, I know that they will fit appropriately on my 12 by 12 scrapbook layout. I'm going to use these arrows as a large element on my scrapbook layout. So I'm going to drag them over. I do want them to be tilted at an angle. So I am just using the keys that surround the cut file image to rotate, and then the arrow to resize the image. I am just eyeballing it right now, just kind of figuring out what I want the design to look like, where I want to place the arrows, and which direction I want them facing. I'm going to copy and paste that top arrow, and then I will also use the mirror feature under the Edit tab just to change the direction of a couple of the arrows. You can either use the mirror feature, or you could just use the rotate tool that is located on one of the outside edges of the cut file to rotate it all the way around. If you know that you just want it flip-flop, sometimes the mirror feature is just the easiest way to do that, and here's where I'm showing you. You can either flip it side to side, or you can flip it upside down. So now I'm just going to play around with the size of each of the arrows. I know that I want it to fill pretty much the entire 12 by 12 background. So just eyeballing it, just trying to figure out where I want to position them, how many exactly I want on the design screen. But I need to keep in mind that I need to place a photo on this layout. So I'm going to insert a square and resize it to 3 by 4 because I know that's the size of the photo that I want to use for my layout. And I'm resizing that using the Edit tab. I just click on the padlock to unlock the dimensions and then type in the dimensions of whatever size photo that you're going to use on the layout. This will give me a reference of where the photo is going to sit on the layout, so I know that I'm not going to be covering up too much of the arrows once I get the photo positioned on the layout. Once I have the arrows positioned on the design screen where I like, I'm going to delete that rectangle image, and then I'm going to select all. Then I'm going to go over to the Layers tab and click Attach. This is really, really important for when you're getting ready to send the image to the cutting mat. If you do not attach the image, it's just going to insert the arrows randomly and not keep it as you have it designed on the design screen. Next, I need to go back over to the Edit tab to make sure that the image is not larger than 11.5. If it is larger than 11.5, it will not cut correctly on a 12 by 12 mat. It will tell you that it's too large because 11.5 is the largest image that you can cut in Cricut Design Space using a 12 by 12 cutting mat. Here you can see everything is positioned correctly on my cutting mat. I can move it around slightly just to make sure it is centered in the 12 by 12 layout. Now I want to show you what will happen if you do not have these images attached before sending them to your cutting mat. So here I've detached, I'm going to hit the go button, and you can see that it has just randomly placed the arrows on the cutting mat. So it's really, really important to attach the images if you're wanting to keep them in a particular order before cutting them. Okay, so the cut file image is cut onto white cardstock, and now I want to add just a splash of color to this white cardstock. So I've grabbed one of my Close to My Heart inks. This is Hollyhock, and it's this really pretty pink color. I'm just swiping it onto some plastic packaging, spraying a little bit of water, and then just smushing the color directly onto the cardstock. Once I have the coverage that I like, I am just going to remove the white cardstock from my cutting mat, and you could see that I was peeling back a little bit of washi tape there. My cutting mat is not very sticky, so I just use the washi to help secure the paper to the cutting mat when it was running through my Cricut, just to make sure that the edges weren't going to lift as things were cutting. Now I am going to back that cut file image using one of my new favorite pattern papers. This is one of the pattern papers from the Chamel Little by Little collection, and it was my natural tendency to want to hoard this paper because I just think it is so pretty, but I forced myself to use it, and I'm really glad that I did. I'm really happy with how it looks back behind that cut file image. I think all scrapbookers can relate to that. You get a product or a paper and you just absolutely love it. And I don't know why we want to hoard it and not use it, but it does tend to be a fairly common thing amongst scrapbookers. So I know that you all out there can relate to that. I did also add quite a bit of black hand stitching around the edge of each of those arrows. Once I got the pattern paper back there, I felt like it was just a little bit lost, like there wasn't a defined edge to the cut file image. So by adding the black embroidery floss, it really helps those arrows pop off the page. Now I've started adding a little bit of embellishing, and I use a wide variety of products on this layout. Those stickers that I was fussy cutting there, I actually applied those to vellum first. They are clear stickers, but I wasn't really sure where I wanted to put them or how I wanted them positioned on the layout. So whenever I have items like this, whether it's clear stickers or rub-ons, I tend to place them on vellum first and then fussy cut them out. This way I am able to move them around the layout like an ephemera piece until I find the exact position that I want them to be in. Then I just use adhesive to attach them to the layout. I did also add a frame back behind my photo, and I believe that is from one of the Crate paper collections, and I can't remember which one it is, if it's Hello Love or Heart Day. I'm pretty sure it's Heart Day, and the XOXO is from that same Crate paper line, which again, I believe it is Heart Day. I'm just positioning a few things around the layout. I try to position at least one embellishment or journaling or something next to each arrow just to kind of help your eye flow down the page. This photo was taken last year at my son's first grade Valentine's Day party, and it's just a photo that I snapped of us at his desk. So I pretty much grabbed every Valentine's themed product that I had in my stash. I coordinated all the colors based off of that Chamel Little by Little pattern paper that I used back behind the cut file image. There are a lot of pinks, and there's also some red thrown into that pattern paper. So I thought that it would be a really great pattern paper to use for a Valentine's theme layout. So I didn't have a hard time pulling things from my stash to use with that pattern paper because, again, there's so many pinks and reds included in every Valentine line that there is out there that it was really easy just to find things that blended in really well with the pattern paper. So I decided to swap my photo out for a black and white photo, and the reason that I did that, I just really felt like the color photo was competing with all of the colors that I had going on the layout already. So I decided that the black and white photo would just pop a little bit more and that your eye would be drawn to the photo and it wouldn't be in competition with everything else that's going on. And I really do like it a lot better using the black and white photo. I really enjoy using color photos, and I try to use them whenever I can because I feel like there's just so much detail captured in a color photo. The color of Aiden's eyes, the color of his hair, and just, you know, so on and so forth. I feel like sometimes features and details can get lost in black and white photos, but when it comes to designing a layout, sometimes it is just a must to use a black and white photo. There's just no way around it. Okay, so I'm still adding just little odds and ends to the layouts, a couple more layers here and there. I added an ephemera piece from the Heart Day collection, and then I also added just a little bit of the manufacturing strip from that Chamel Little by Little pattern paper that I used for the background. I also added a flower cluster along that bottom arrow. Again, that is from the Heart Day collection. And now I'm just working on getting everything adhered down. I'm going to add a heart to the center of that large heart from the cut file image. And that heart ephemera piece is from the Crate paper Hello Love collection. I'm going to add my date above the top arrow using Stays on Ink and my Heidi Swap date stamp. Then I'm going to bring in a gold bow paper clip and just slide it right along the bottom edge of my photo just to add a little bit more detail around the photo cluster. I'm going to adhere my journaling down. I typed that out on my We Are Memory Keepers typecast typewriter, cut it into a strip, and just using liquid adhesive to apply it to the layout. I'm going to use my Xyron sticker maker to apply that cute little bird to the layout. And that pretty much wraps things up. I did add a few enamel dots off camera, which you will see in the close-ups at the end, which are coming up right now. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I absolutely love using large cut file images on a layout. It just really brings the design together really quickly. Remember to head to the Cut Shop to check out all the available cut files. I will be back again with a new layout and new process video very soon. Thank you so much for watching.